If everything you call control is only permission, you plan, you strive, you succeed, and still, one unseen moment can rewrite your entire life. Machines obey laws they didn't create. Humans follow paths they never designed. Yet we argue over power, belief, and identity, forgetting one uncomfortable truth: nothing in existence governs itself. This is not a story about religion. It is about the silent force that never asked to be named, yet controls every step you take, every breath you borrow, and every destiny you believe is yours. Beyond religion, the one who never left. No one noticed the old man at the bus stand. People rushed past him every day, students glued to their phones, workers calculating time, vendors counting coins. He sat quietly on the cracked stone bench, watching vehicles arrive and depart. Buses roared in, engines coughing smoke, conductors shouting destinations. Everyone admired the buses, their size, their speed, their mileage. No one looked at the driver for more than a second. The old man smiled. One afternoon, a young engineer named Arav missed his bus and collapsed onto the same bench, frustrated. He had just been rejected from a prestigious research institute. His mind was loud: questions, anger, disbelief. "Funny thing," the old man said calmly, eyes still on the road. "We praise the machine, but forget the one steering it." Arav frowned. "What? That bus you missed," the man continued, "was it in control of where it went?" "Of course not." "The driver was." "And the driver?" "He follows rules. Signals. The road." The old man finally turned toward him. "Exactly. Control always exists. We just argue about where it starts." That sentence stayed with Arav longer than the missed bus. That night, Arav stood on his terrace, staring at the sky. Satellites blinked faintly like artificial stars. He remembered how humanity once feared the ocean, then crossed it. Once feared the sky, then conquered it. Now, they were reaching beyond planets. Are we really this powerful? He wondered. Or were they only discovering doors that had always existed? He remembered the old man's voice: "Control always exists." Days later, Arav met him again. This time, the old man was feeding ants, gently placing sugar near a crack in the pavement. "You believe in God?" Arav asked bluntly. The old man laughed softly. "People ask that like they're asking whether I believe in gravity." "So you think God controls everything?" "I know control exists," the man replied. "I don't insult my intelligence by thinking humans are the final authority." Arav scoffed. "Then what about free will? Choice? Effort?" The old man picked up a grain of sand and placed it on Arav's palm. "Do you control where this grain was born?" "No." "Do you control when your heart beats next?" "No." "Yet you believe you are completely independent." Arav stayed silent. "We are allowed movement," the man said gently. "Not ownership." One evening, rain poured without warning. Traffic froze. Power lines failed. Signals went dark. Arav watched chaos unfold, machines useless, people helpless. In that darkness, he remembered something unsettling: no human invention had ever replaced mercy. Hospitals still prayed when medicine failed. Scientists still hoped when equations collapsed. Even the most logical minds whispered please when control slipped away. "Why do people fight over religion then?" Arav asked days later. The old man sighed. "Because they confuse the road sign with the destination." He explained how once, long before labels, humans spoke of something eternal: Sanatana. Not a religion. Not a flag. Not a border. A state of understanding. Sanatana meant that which does not change. Fire burns. Water flows. The Supreme governs. No identity required. Religion, the old man said, was created to guide people. Ego turned it into a weapon. Arav thought of wars, hatred, pride masked as devotion. "So what is a true believer?" he asked. "One who stops arguing with the sky," the man replied. "One who accepts that the Supreme does not belong to them. They belong to the Supreme." Months passed. Arav's life changed quietly. Not dramatically. He still worked, still failed, still succeeded. But something was gone: restlessness. When things went wrong, he no longer felt cursed. When things went right, He no longer felt arrogant. He began respecting people without ranking them. A laborer, a CEO, a child, a stranger. All carried the same borrowed breath. One morning, the bench was empty. The old man never returned. No one knew his name. No one remembered his face clearly. It was as if he had stepped out of time the way he had stepped into it. Years later, Arav would sit on that same bench, watching buses arrive and leave, watching people praise machines, positions, and power. And sometimes, when a confused stranger sat beside him, Arav would smile and say, "Funny thing, we admire the vehicle, but forget the one who truly controls the journey." And somewhere beyond belief, beyond religion, beyond argument, the Supreme remained exactly where he always had been. In control. Eternal. Unchanged. Years passed, but the bench remained. The paint around it peeled, the road widened, and new buses replaced the old ones, sleeker, faster, louder. Yet the questions that once haunted Arav returned, one evening in a different form. A child was crying near the signal. The boy couldn't have been more than 7. He stood frozen while vehicles screamed past him, his schoolbag slipping from his shoulders. People noticed him, but no one moved. Everyone assumed someone else would act. Arav did. He crossed the road, lifted the boy, and carried him back to safety. The child clung to him like life itself depended on it. Later that night, Arav couldn't sleep. Why did I move when others didn't? Was it choice? Or command? That question disturbed him more than any failure ever had. A few weeks later, Arav visited a massive construction site for work. Towering cranes pierced the sky. Hundreds of workers moved in perfect coordination, steel beams lifted, concrete poured, sparks flying like artificial stars. Arav admired the structure rising from nothing. Then the supervisor said something strange. "Stop everything." Wind speed crossed the limit. Within seconds, the entire site froze. Machines worth crores stood powerless. Human plans paused, not because of fear, but because of law. Not man-made law. Natural law. That night, Arav wrote in his journal, "The Supreme does not shout. He enforces." Doubt returned in a subtler way. Arav attended a debate at a university, brilliant minds arguing fiercely about God. Proofs. Counterproofs. Logic slicing logic. The crowd clapped when someone won. As he left the hall, Arav noticed something odd. The debaters were exhausted. Angry. Defensive. The janitor outside, quietly sweeping the floor, was humming peacefully. The contrast hit him hard. Who seemed closer to truth? The one trying to conquer it, or the one surrendered to it? That night, Arav dreamed. He stood inside a massive courtroom with no walls. No ceiling. Just infinite space. Planets floated like evidence. Time flowed backward and forward at once. There was no judge's chair. Yet everyone stood. A voice, not loud, not soft, asked only one question: did you believe you were in control? Or did you act responsibly knowing you were not? Arav woke up trembling. Not afraid. Awakened. Part 2. Days later, a sudden illness struck his closest friend. Doctors tried everything. Reports were normal. Medicines worked on paper but failed in reality. Arav watched his friend whisper a single line: "I've done my part. The rest is yours." For the first time, Arav understood surrender was not weakness. It was trust without negotiation. Standing again at the bus stand, Arav noticed a young woman staring at the sky, clearly lost in thought. "You look like someone carrying a question," he said gently. She smiled. "I feel like I'm doing everything right. Yet something is missing." Arav looked at the road, the buses, the drivers. "Maybe," he said, "you are confusing effort with ownership." She frowned. "What do you mean?" He replied softly, "Do your duty like the driver. Follow the road like the wheels. But never forget, you didn't build the road." Her eyes widened. And Arav realized something powerful: the Supreme never forces belief. He reveals himself through patterns, limits, and mercy, again and again, until the mind gets tired of arguing and the soul finally recognizes home. The world continued fighting over names, books, and flags. But somewhere beyond all of it, Sanatana remained. Like fire that burns whether you worship it or deny it. Like gravity that holds you whether you believe or not. Like the supreme, silent, eternal, and unmistakably present. And the bond? It was never broken. Only forgotten. True peace does not come from arguing about God or identifying with a religion. It comes from recognizing our place in the greater order of existence. Humans are meant to act with responsibility and sincerity, not with the illusion of control. When we stop claiming ownership over outcomes and accept the Supreme as the ultimate authority, ego dissolves, conflict fades, and life flows with clarity. Religion may divide by labels, but understanding the eternal truth unites, because what is real does not need proof, and what is eternal does not change.